Hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. Just want to make it last a quick video and just answer any last minute questions you guys may have about the test. And coming up, I know for the AB students, it can be a little bit kind of nerve wracking. It's your first AP Calc test. For the BC students, you guys have been here before, so it shouldn't be too bad. Now, just remember in 2023, you had a table question, a particle motion, and the videos that I made were for the uh, the videos that I made were for for the FRQs. You're gonna get 6 of them. Now, what you got to be careful is when you go into the test, especially the FRQs, you got to make sure you understand what they're gonna be asking. So for uh, if you get a table question, you got to understand, okay, what they're going to they ask. As soon as you see a table question, even without looking at what it is, I see a table, you got to know right away, okay, hey, they're going to ask me for Riemann sum, left hand, right hand, um, things like that. Is there any chance for optimization? I always get that question, and uh, no, no, you won't see optimization. You might see one multiple choice optimization question, but that's about it. No, the FRQs, you're not going to see optimization. There's too much material content that they won't ask that. Um, what you will see though is you're going to see um, rate accumulation. You're going to see where something's going in and something's coming out. So, for example, let's say you have a tank being filled with water and then it gets emptied, right? Maybe it has a hole in the bottom, and they're going to ask you, okay, well, at what's the total amount of, let's say, water in the tank? They'll ask you that, or I'll say at this particular time, how much water is in the tank? Okay, or they'll ask you what's the maximum. At what point is there a maximum amount of water? Okay, and that goes like to the candidates test. So you will definitely get a rate accumulation. The other thing is you are going to get a graph analysis. Remember when they give you a graph and you have to well, they'll give you a graph. As soon as you see the graph that you're looking at, 99 times out of 100, that is the derivative. So they're going to ask you for the concavity. They're going to ask you for um, max, minimum, based on where it's at. Okay. They're going to ask you to find a specific value. They're going to ask you for the fundamental theorem of calculus. All right. um, so you're definitely going to see that. So you're definitely going to see the graph analysis for sure. You're going to see the rate accumulation. The other one that I think is almost certain is a table question. Every year, in the past, you can see 2023, 2022, 2021, 2019, 2018, 2017. You've gotten a table question for Calc AB. Okay, so that means be ready for it. Table question. As soon as you see a table question, okay, what does that mean? That means, hey, they're gonna ask me for left hand, right hand. They're gonna ask you for trapezoidal. They don't usually ask for midpoint. I think I've seen midpoint once in the last, I don't know, 20 years or so. Okay. Um, Now, if you're doing Calc BC, just remember that 3 out of those questions from AB are going to be on your BC test. So usually it's your graph analysis, your rate accumulation, um, and probably your either area volume or your differential, your slope field kind of a question. You're going to see that. Okay. Because in BC, the new stuff is going to be particle motion. I'm sorry, parametric. You're going to see the Taylor series. All right. And the polar stuff. Okay, now for BC, the last 3 years, it's always been parametric. I'm sorry, yeah, it's been parametric. They haven't had a polar. And I don't know if in 2020, because they didn't release the questions, but I'm guessing for BC they're gonna have a. I'm thinking they're gonna have polar, because if I'm looking at the pattern and if you've seen the video, let's see, they had a polar in back in 2019, 2018, 2017. Okay, then before that they had 2015, 2016 they had parametric, and then they had 2013, 2014 they had polar, and then before that it was, I think it was 2009. Okay, um, so yeah, it's kind of weird one. But for BC students, polar, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to be ready. Um, some of the frequently asked multiple choice questions for AB. Well, here's what you got to understand for multiple choice. It's gonna start off easy and it's gonna get harder. You guys know that, but um, a third of the test is integration. So make sure you know how to integrate. You're gonna have your derivatives, but a lot of it is your fundamental theorem of calculus. It's your integration, your use substitution, things like that. Okay. Um, so just make sure you really, really, really practice your integration, integration, integration. But usually the students do okay on the multiple choice. It's the FRQs where it kind of gets them. So that's why for me back in 2020, I started doing this for my students, and I found out it was helping them a lot. So um, that's what you want to focus on. For BC, what you want to focus on, the biggest thing is your series, right? Um, Let me see. Well, the most important series. Well, for multiple choice question for the BC, you're gonna see you have your P series. You're gonna have your ratio test. All those tests for series of convergence of divergence. That's the biggest thing. But again, they're going to give you a subscore for AB as well. So they're going to give you a lot of integration. So if you're taking BC, you're going to notice that a lot of the questions from AB are the same. But again, the multiple choice, I'm not worried about it. It's the free response, the FRQs that really, really kind of hinder the students. And so if you can knock out, like for example, out of those 6 questions, right? Let's say you score 4 or even 5 out of those 6, you really score them very, very well. I mean, you're going to do extremely well on that test. Okay. Because remember, typically you only need to score, I think, about 63%. You need to get 63% of the questions right in order to get a 5. Let me see here. Let me see if I can orient this here real quick. How much? Let's see here. Hey, Jack. Related rates. On the AB, what related rates, they throw it in with, usually you're gonna see that in multiple choice for sure. As the FRQ, I've seen them where they kind of throw it in with a rate accumulation. But usually, I don't know. They see if I had to pick, like number one, you're gonna get a rate accumulation. Like something comes in, something goes out. That's number one. You're gonna get that for sure. Number two, you're gonna get a graph analysis question. Absolutely positive. Number three, you're gonna get a table question for sure. And then the other ones, see, like in 2022, you had an area volume. In 2023, you didn't. So I don't know. In 2021, there was an area volume. In 2022, there was an area volume. In COVID, we don't know. In 2019, there was an area volume. So I'm thinking, see, because last year in 2023, there was no area volume. So I'm thinking that other question is going to be area volume. I just don't know if it's going to be like a calculated question or if it's going to be something else. So you have your table question, your graph analysis, you have your area volume, you have your rate accumulation. And then from there, you probably have a differential equations. Um, But related rates, see, related rates, there was, let's see, back in, there was one in 2019. In 2019, they had a related rates question, and I think that was they had like a fun one. You had to use similar triangles to solve that, but that was back in 2019. That was kind of like an what I call an oddball, and it just it didn't it doesn't correlate with how they normally do it. But that was in 2019. 2021, 2022, 2023, you didn't have related rates. So, I mean, I don't know. Chances are they usually don't ask that. Alex, don't feel cooked. You've been studying all day, but I'm telling you guys, focus on the specific stuff that, don't study everything. You're not. Like I was saying before earlier, as soon as you see a table question, you got to say, okay, they're going to ask me left hand, right hand, Riemann sum. They're going to ask trapezoidal rule, uh, for sure. Okay. They're going to ask you for the average rate of change, something like that, f of b minus f of a over b minus a. They might ask you for average value. That's automatic. As soon as you see a graph analysis question, they're gonna ask you. They're gonna ask you, okay, where's the max? Where's the min? Where's the concavity? Okay, they're gonna ask you the fundamental theorem of calculus. They're gonna ask you, okay, what's the value of f of, I don't know, 3, right? And you're gonna have to use the fundamental theorem. Okay, um, things like that. So that's what you want to focus on. Don't study everything under the sun. You want to fine tune your focus, and that's why I made the other videos. I think you should be able to find them, but just want to fine tune your focus on what they're going to ask you. Particle motion. They're going to ask you, where is it speeding up? Where is it slowing down? They're going to ask you, where is it turn around? Things like that. How do you do trapezoidal sum? Ooh. And guys, if you guys can ask questions from everybody else, that would be great. Rate accumulation, Alex, you said. Yeah, I would just say, Alex, because I know I have students in the West Coast. They have a little bit more time, but you know what? If you want, just look at some rate accumulation problems that I've done, and honestly, it's not that difficult. They're gonna ask you what's the total amount of whatever it is, and that's just your integration, and you just have to account for how much is going in minus what's going out, and then just kind of go from there. Um, yeah, but I mean, I wish I could kind of do some problems right now, but that's just not possible. What theorems are regularly on the test? Fundamental theorem of calculus. Uh, Yeah, the fundamental theorem of calculus is the biggest one. Make sure you guys know how to integrate U substitution. Of course, for BC, UV substitution. Um, you got 2 hours to go. Tips, I would say make sure you get a good night's rest. On the West Coast, you got more time. I would say eh, if you're a coffee drinker, drink a cup of coffee right before the test, because in the morning, that first class, you're still kind of waking up, but you're kind of groggy, right? Get a little bit of caffeine in you just to kind of wake you up, and just be ready for the test. Mm, there's always some part that is worth like 3 points, but multi-step that I have no idea. Yeah, you know what? You want to answer every question, and you're gonna see a lot of space, especially for you AB guys. You're gonna see a lot of space, and you're gonna think, "Oh man, I have to fill in everything." No, you don't. Short, sweet, to the point. Make sure you 3 decimal places. Make sure. Let's see. If you get confused, like say justify your answer, just go back to the verbiage. Like um, justify your explanation, or they'll say give the rates or give the what's going on, and just go back to the verbiage that they tell you. Okay, at t equals 1, the rate of yada 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 is, the verbiage is right there, and I know I posted some videos on that. um do you have to be specific about less than or equal sign for Lagrange and the alternating series, but yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because it'll converge. You have to make sure you find both sides, because it'll converge conditionally or absolutely. So just be careful with that. Um, for work that we have to show, if the limit is indeterminate, we write 0, 0. Yes, if it's indeterminate, yes, you show 0, 0, and then use L'Hopital's rule, and you go from there. Is rate accumulation and related rates the same? Not quite. Not quite. Your rate accumulation is your tank is filling up, and then maybe it has a hole in it and it's draining out. Your related rates, it is similar. But that's, for example, like yeah, I would say that it's similar. But your related rates are, I think, more is like the ladder problem. Remember the ladder problem, or the circle problem, where it's getting bigger or smaller, things like that. Um, Anything to expect for the exam, Abud? Well, here's what I think for the AB. For AB, your multiple choice, you're gonna see a lot of integrals. A third of the test is integrals. So make sure you know your integrals, your sine, your cosine, your tangent. They just ask you the basic ones, okay? But for the FRQs, just make sure you're mentally ready that you're gonna see a graph analysis question. You're gonna see a table question. You're gonna see a rate accumulation where something's going in, something's coming out, something like that. All right. And then from there, I think you're gonna see an area volume question. All right. And I know I posted videos online for what to look for. It's not hard. Once you know what to look for, it gets easier. Okay. Um, Does a limit exist for a point where the point is removable, discontinuous? Yes, the limit does exist. Well, think about it. If you have a circle and the limit exists, but the point might not exist. So there's a difference with that. Um, Alex, everybody freaks out about it. Everybody gets scared, and that's okay. But you got to go in there just one question at a time. Don't think, oh my goodness, if I fail, if I did, no, 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 don't, no, you're already starting bad. No, you just go in there. Okay, what's the question? Oh, okay, the derivative. Okay, the derivative of 3x squared is 6x. The derivative of sine is cosine. Okay, from here to here, and just go one step at a time. Just make sure, remember, the questions are about 2.5 minutes per question. So, time yourself. And then when you get to the FRQ, right, it's before you turn in the page, you got to understand, okay, these are the six that I think I'm going to get. I'm going to get an area volume. I'm going to get a rate accumulation. Okay, if I get a table, okay, I know to expect Riemann sum. If I get a particle motion, okay, they're going to ask me. And so just, you kind of fine tune your focus that way. Um, Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get to as many questions as possible. For graph analysis, Tud, for graph analysis, is there always going to be candidates test? Yes. Yes. So make sure you check the endpoints and you check your critical points. Tricks for finding relative max and relative min. You just got to look at the derivative, the question, because when you get the graph analysis, you're going to see, right, when it crosses the x-axis from positive to negative, okay, you're going to have from what I call mas to menos, from positive to negative, you're going to have a max, and then from negative to positive, you're going to have a min. But you should already kind of have an idea with that. The timing breakdown is just about 2.5 minutes per question. Will there be related rates? I think you'll see a related rates question for sure on the multiple choice. Alex, like I was telling Jack earlier, There hasn't really been a related rates question FRQ since 2019. Um, I call that like an oddball, but I just don't know. That's kind of hard to predict because sometimes you have your six basic ones, but then they throw in a little bit of a curveball. Sometimes what I've seen a lot is they'll throw in like a table, and then they'll ask you for the quotient rule. They'll ask you for the product rule. They'll ask you for what's the other one? The chain rule, something like that. Okay, something like you didn't expect, but that's not too hard. Thank you, Alex, man. I enjoy helping you guys out. Even I still get comments and stuff from people that have been blessed by the videos, and I if it helps just one or a couple of you guys, man, that's what it's for. Um, yeah, I wish I could do more, but I'm also busy teaching myself, and I wish I had more time. Um, Molar, if it's on the MCQ and you don't know how to do it, then can you just skip it, right? Yeah, yeah, you can skip a multiple choice question. Now remember, in order to get a 5, I believe it's 63%. You have to get 63% of the questions right. You don't want to, leave anything blank, but like you don't want to spend too much time on a question, right? You see the derivative, boom, awesome. You see a derivative, boom, right? If you see a related rates, oh gosh, I'm all right, let's skip it. Let's come back to it. Okay. Um, you would rather do that than spend, 5 minutes on a question you don't know how to do. Mm. Oh, you're welcome, Saad. Um, like I said, if it can help, at least a few students, that's what it's for. When I started this in 2020, I was doing it for my students, and then I started seeing that it was helping others, and I said, "Wow, cool." And then the other thing too, guys, is you want to go ahead and uh, help each other out. You guys can answer questions amongst yourselves. Awesome, Molar. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Alex, if you just kind of focus, honestly, because if you look at all of them, they're really pretty straightforward. When you start studying, like, oh my goodness, what do I study? But if you kind of break it down, they're asking the same type of questions all the time. Um, so if you know what to look for, it's not really too bad. It's not that intimidating. I think you guys will surprise yourselves of how well you guys will do. Um, And then for BC, I think the biggest thing is I don't know. I just have a hunch that they're gonna throw in a polar question, and I know people don't like polar. It's hard, but just do your best. The first question they're gonna ask you is for the area. Okay, is for area of a polar. Yeah, no, I know molar. It's okay. Just try to do the best that you can. And you just fine tune that focus and what you need, and just kind of go from there. You know, that's all you can do. Don't worry, don't go back, don't worry about the what ifs, and just focus on hey, what you need to do now. Okay. Um, well, the multiple choice. Just read the question carefully. What I find, like a lot of students, they second guess themselves, and then you know that's where the mistakes come in. Um, just go with your gut instinct. Take the derivative plus C. Talk yourself through it. That always helps. You try to remember what your teacher taught you. And a lot of students, they'll ask you, "Oh, do I do this? Do I do that?" I mean, they know to do that, but they just because it's a test, they second guess themselves. Just trust your abilities. If that's what you think, go for it. Boom. If you don't know, just kind of make a little mark on it, come back to it, and that's it. Okay. And they're not gonna ask you anything crazy. I mean, there'll be, integrals of your trig functions, secant square and things like that. Let's see, inverse. I've seen inverse sine, inverse tangent. See, because they don't release multiple choice questions, so we don't really know. They do release FRQs, so that gives us a better understanding. Um, but yeah, but I will tell you that they say that a third of the test is integrals, integration. Make sure you know your integrals. Okay. Um, but yeah, but that's what I would say, guys. I would say spend time, go back, look at those videos, and just fine tune your focus. Um, the last video that I made where I have the chart, right? That one I think is helpful to kind of give you an idea, and then just go back on in the playlist and see, okay, hey, what do I need to look for? What do I need to see? And then just kind of go from there. That's it. Implicit differentiation will be on the exam. Oof. Uh, I think so. I think so. Yeah, I would say that's maybe question 5 or 6. You get a slope field, a separable differential equation. Um, yeah, yeah, that's a pretty big concept. I'll be ready for that. Related rates on the FRQ, Epic. You know what? I was telling them the last time that came up was in 2019. That one what I call is an oddball, and I don't know. I don't know. I would tend to say no, but then again, I've seen them throw in questions out of left field and like, whoa, where did that come from? So just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. But again, number one, rate accumulation. Number two, your graph analysis. Number three, your table question. Number four, I would say probably particle motion. Number five would probably be your differential equation, maybe with a slope field. And number six, gosh, I don't know. Might be an area volume. I think they're gonna throw in an area volume this year. That's just me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Slope and hopefully it's the one where they have you graph the slope, and those are pretty straightforward and easy. All you gotta do is just kind of separate them and just be careful with the integration. For the slope field, well, they're gonna ask you to graph it. They're going to ask you to kind of find the particular solution. They're going to give you an initial condition, and they're going to have to integrate and do all that good stuff and find the C value and kind of go from there. Um, Parametric area FRQ common. That's a BC. Yes, for you BC students. You see, the last 3 years they've had parametrics. They haven't had a polar yet. And where they've had a polar, they haven't actually. You know what? In 2018, they had a parametric slash volume, and they had a polar. Oof. And so I think if I'm going based on the pattern, I'm gonna prepare for a polar. That's just me. I of course make sure you understand how to do parametric, but polar, they haven't had it in 3 years, so I don't know. And then they've had area volume the last 2 years. Okay, so BC student, be ready for that. Um, well, Sergeant, right now I was talking about the BC. Yes, the parametric that was for BC, for what you guys would call particle motion for AB. Angeline, what are the 6 predictions for the BC? Well, 3 of those questions are going to be from AB. So usually it's your rate accumulation, your graph analysis, your I don't know, it'll maybe like a table question. Cause see, the 3 new ones in BC are your Taylor. You're gonna see Taylor is number 6. Okay, you're gonna see either parametric or polar. Okay, and then let's see here. The other one will be some type of series test where you have to see if it converges or not, right? You have to do the ratio test. You're gonna see that, and that's kind of like your Taylor series as well. Um, but then the other ones are gonna be your graph analysis, which is A B, your rate accumulation, which is A B, maybe a table question, which is A B, probably maybe even the area volume. Okay, we just don't know. Matthew, will there be finding Taylor polynomial from a graph or the chart? You know what? I don't know. Either one, they kind of alternate. That's a good question. Hmm. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at that. I don't know. That's a very, very good question. I don't know if anybody else can chime in and say. I do know that, let's see, in 2021, it was a Maclaurin series to see if it converges. But other than that, everything else has been Taylor series. Question number 6 for BC. Tips for not losing focus, motivation halfway through. It is a long test. Just pace yourself. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you just want to, talk yourself through. Okay. Talk yourself through. Okay. Question number one, or what derivative? Okay, I can do that. Just kind of take it one question at a time. Pace yourself. Don't spend too much time on one. And don't let your mind wander and say, oh man, I messed up. I did this. No, no, no. You just focus on that question. Okay. Because usually students do okay on the multiple choice, and the FRQ is where it kind of hurts them. So hopefully you've seen the videos and you've kind of gotten good tips, and then you can do well. Awesome. No for expecting rate accumulation tape. Good. Yes. AB. Yes. No. Tadros. Yes. And that's what the chart was for. Is I started making it with a colleague of mine, and I just said, let me just look at the pattern. And when you see the patterns, you're like, whoa! It just kind of opens up your mind. You're like, okay, okay. So I'm fine tuning my focus. Okay, this is what I need to look for. This is, and people are human. If I see, in BC that they've Taylor series is number 6, okay, let me look at that. Okay, what do they ask for? Okay. Um, but usually the BC student, they've been around the block and they kind of know, okay, what to expect. The AB students are the ones that are like, oh man, I'm kind of scared and confused, but you'll be okay, guys. Don't you get to keep one of the sections to the next one? Um, the sections. Well, you're gonna see, in BC, you're gonna see, like the FRQs, you're gonna see similar stuff. Graph analysis, um, fundamental theorem, a table question, maybe area volume again. Yeah. Orange, yeah, I think so. Rate in, rate out, that's your rate accumulation. Oh, okay, Alex, I see what you're saying. Don't worry, because you're gonna get two subscores. You're gonna get an question, and you're gonna get a BC. So you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just take it one question at a time. Okay. Um, yeah, just one question. If you can't, go and check out those um, other videos that I posted and see kind of just what should I look for. No. If you do AB, you do not get a BC subscore. Yeah, BC is a different topics. You're dealing with series and um, parametrics and polar that you guys haven't learned. Yeah, only BC. Yeah. All right, guys. Do I think there'll be a polar? Yes, I do. Unfortunately, and there was one in 2019, 2018, 2017, And then before that, it was 2013 and 14. And then before that, it wasn't until 2009, I think. But the last 3 years, it's only been parametric. Okay, that's what they've given. So, I mean, you've gone 3 whole years with just parametric and no polar whatsoever. So for me, I mean, what are the chances of them doing another parametric? I mean, I know everybody wants it, but I would just be ready for a polar just in case. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, guys. I mean, good luck to everyone, and make sure you guys just do your best. It's in you guys. You'd be surprised what you guys can do. You guys would be very, very surprised. I know you guys can do it. For AB, do colleges only accept five? That depends on the college, Moeller. Um, I know some accept five, some don't. Some accept three. It just depends where you're going and your major. Excuse me. Yeah, yeah. But you can do it. Remember, for AB, all you got to do is, guys, all you got to do is get 63% of the questions right. 63% of the points. You can do that. You can do that. Um, are the I don't know. The question is, Alex, is the ones that they release. I don't know. I've seen a lot of students. They say it doesn't correlate very well. It's just a personal preference. For me, I think it's okay, but not quite like when you see the released ones, come out. It's an okay correlation. That's why I like to go off of the questions that they've released, the FRQs from previously, and you can kind of see and kind of go based off of that. There's not too many of them, but it's okay. You just have to really dig in and kind of just see what they're asking, what they're looking for. 60%, no, the whole test, Moeller. Okay, if you can just shoot for that, oh man, you'll be set, man. If you get 63% of all those points, you're good. I think it's a total of 108 points. So yeah, you believe me, you can do it. Don't stress out. Don't freak out like that. Um, yeah, and I'm sorry. I wish I had more time to make more videos and kind of go online. It's just been a crazy hectic year, and I got my own students too. But I want to encourage you guys. You guys can do it. It's doable. I've had students say before, "Man, I bombed it. I don't know if I," and they come back and they get a 4 or they get a 5. And so, just one question at a time. All right. Go back and look at those videos. I think that'll help you. Um, and just kind of go from there, guys. Get a good night's rest, and just kind of go from there and pray and go with it. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. I don't want to keep you guys too long. Hopefully, I've answered enough questions. Share your knowledge, share with everybody else. Those of you that are on the West Coast, you have a little bit more time, but you can do this. But let me go ahead and close. I want to pray for you guys and all those that are gonna be taking it, and wish you guys the best for tomorrow. Father, I come before you, Lord. I thank you for these students right now and all those that are going to be watching this video. I ask you, Lord, just your spirit to come upon them, help them remember, Lord, and everything that they're studied, Lord. I pray that they would be on that test, Lord, that you just help them remember and bring back everything that they've learned, Father. I know it's scary and we have anxiety and nerves, but I pray, Lord, that they do extremely, extremely well, and all to your glory, and ask you to be with them, Father, and as they pursue their hopes and their dreams. And it's in Christ's name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. I wish you all the best. I'll be praying for you guys. I may not know you personally, but I wish you guys all the best because I've been there. I've been there. All right. Good luck, guys. We'll see you guys. And hey, when you guys do well, please, let me know because it really makes me happy when you guys, do well, and you get excited about, doing well and all this. It really blesses me. So I hope you guys can share that. All right, guys. I'll see you guys. Take care.